Alright guys, so today we're going to be looking at my everyday carry setup. So if you're looking to refine your options, get new ideas, or maybe you're just one of those new carry applicants from an anti-freedom state, this video is going to be for you, and welcome to the channel. Essential Gear here. Thanks for coming. Glad you made it here with me. So a lot of what you're going to see here has evolved over time. I find a lot of guys have trouble remaining consistent with their carry options just because they become cumbersome or uncomfortable. So hopefully talking through my setup will help you out with that. And if there are any ladies out there, don't worry, I've got you covered. My elusive second half will be making an appearance in a future video to talk about some options for women as well. Alright guys, kicking this thing off with the watch I wear. So this is a pretty basic watch, nothing fancy. I've had some pretty nice watches over the years and I've ruined most of them. So this is a Casio G-Shock, let's see, DW5600E. It was like 18 or 20 bucks when I got it. I think it was like 2 years ago and I got 3 of them and I am still on the first one. Hasn't worn out. Haven't even replaced the battery yet. Although it does go dim from time to time, so it might be time. Alright guys, on to my folder, which is the Benchmade 940 Osborne Emissary. What a great name for a knife. In this aqua greenish coloration, so it has a clip point blade that is rocking S30V steel, which is one of my favorites. It stays sharp forever, so if you're an abuser of knives, you really should probably have a blade in this configuration. It's going to give you a lot less fuss for your everyday use. And the deep carry pocket clip really is a must for me. Most of my knives have one. They just feel much more secure in the pocket. It uses the tried and true axis locking mechanism, and this one is even spring-loaded, so it opens pretty quick, and it won't swing down on you when you disengage it like some of the other axis locking blades. So it does have this blade lock on top, but I don't use it, and it's really never engaged on me while in the pocket or while drawing, so not an issue there. Also, no jimping. Maybe that's an issue for you. Doesn't really matter to me. Now, this is more of a utilitarian type blade for me. Opening boxes, things like that. The main reason I carry this knife over many others I have is just because that second cool factor to me. I just like it so much. On to illumination. I've been using this Olight Warrior Mini 2 for a while now in this pretty sick bronze coloration. How cool is that? So it's got pretty good texturing on the side and channeling around the side button that allows your finger to find it in the dark. So I was using Surefires for years, but I was looking for something that could be recharged because those CR123s get expensive. And now that Surefire has some okay rechargeable options, I may look into that stiletto line, but this Olight really does fit the bill for me. So there is that deep carry pocket clip I love so much, and you can slide that thing around the housing to whatever position you want. And if you're wondering if that clip will fall off, it's never been a problem for me, and you can also take it off and tighten it if you need to. Now the cool thing about this thing is that you can slide it onto your hat, turning it into a headlamp. So I use this at night from time to time, picking up dog poop, or while working around the house when I need a bit of extra light in tight spaces. So great job there, Olight. So there is a newer model out, and I think it has some different brightness settings, and it might be a little brighter, but mine has 3 modes and a strobe mode. So the strobe mode is accessed by pressing that side button 3 times, and it goes off. I'm not going to do it on camera. Then also that side button, you can hold it down and cycle through your low and high output modes. So it does have like a memory to it. So whatever brightness setting you leave it at, it's going to go right back to that when you turn it on again. And I have mine on the lowest setting because when I press it, it's for reading in the dark or looking at things more close up. And the real magic of this thing comes with the tail cap, which is magnetic, by the way. So you can use these all over the place where you need overhead lighting. And I have a bunch of these just kind of stashed away around the house, and just so they can be used in case of a power outage. So I was hesitant to adapt Olight as my carry light in the past because most of their EDC lights lacked a tail cap function for that immediate on-demand maximum output. That's what you want out of a tactical light. Now, you don't want to be fishing around for that side button in a stressful situation, So a half press on that tail cap will give you momentary low light mode, and then a full press will get you that constant maximum output. Now this is my defensive light as well, so really a requirement here, and it does it pretty well. This light is like 1500 lumens, which is plenty, and it does have some kind of intelligent sensor up in the front that will turn down the brightness setting if you get too close to an object. It also gives you some visual feedback in the side button, which just tells you the status of the battery. Green is good, yellow is getting low, and red is like, I'm about to die, man, so I think that's quite useful. The battery is also a rechargeable 18650, pretty standard there. And my only problem I've ever had with Olights really is that the smaller Baton series lights, those would occasionally ground out on me for whatever reason. And they would just refuse to turn on, so that sucked. And only way I could fix that is to remove the battery and put it back in. If anybody else has had a problem with that, let me know in the comments below, but I have not seen this happen with the Warrior Mini 2. And if I had to guess, it probably has something to do with that magnetic tail cap charging feature they have. So where do I keep this stuff? I probably should mention that the Benchmade sits in my right spare mag pocket, and the Olight lives in the left one. And these are the Vertex cutback shorts, I believe. Just some basics here. I keep my lights and fixed blades on my non-dominant side. This will allow me to work a problem with my other hand or keep it free for a clean draw. And I keep my folder on the right hand side because it is not my primary or secondary defensive option. Which brings me to my fixed blade. Getting just a bit spicier now, this is the K-Bar TDI. It was developed by those guys over there at Defense Tactical Institute, or TDI Ohio. Now they have a lot of great training over there, check them out. So the blade is a hollow grind AUS 8, which is a good steel. You can get it scalpel sharp, but it will dull fairly quickly, just the nature of the steel. And it is stainless steel, so it is a little rust resistant as well. And at $40, you can't do much better. So I'm a big fan of carrying a fixed blade in addition to your folder, with the reason being is that it will give you options. I started seeing these TDI knives get popular in around 2010-ish. They started showing up on duty belts and training was developed around them. And for me, the only reason I would take this thing out is if I made the mistake of getting close enough to somebody to grab my problem solver, which is what the knife is going to do, is motivate or discourage your attacker from grabbing things from you. Maybe you're in a ground fight, which is how a lot of fights end up, and that person is preventing you from drawing. This little thing sends a pretty robust message. If that person can no longer use their digits to grab what you have, that fight's going to be over pretty quick. So you're going to use this to create space and buy you time. And this is if you are in fear for your life, of course. So this isn't the sheath that came with it, and like most knives, the sheath is not all that great. It had a huge clip on there, which worked well for a 2-inch duty belt, but not great for an EDC belt. So the one I have was made by a guy at a local knife sharpening shop about 10 years ago. Don't even know if it's still there. If you're interested in this knife, just Google some third-party sheath makers and you'll find a bunch of options. Now I've carried this a few different ways over the years, but the best way I've found is to tuck the entire body of the knife inside my belt line and orient that blade so that it's pointing towards the center of my body with an overhand grip. So I want that blade pointing towards the hands or arteries of the person attacking me, protecting my primary means of self-defense, which is my handgun. It also hides quite nicely against my hip bone at the 11 o'clock position, and that clip is a recent addition. I had some extra tier 1 concealment clips from the holsters I use, and it's working a little bit better than the two plastic loops I was using before. And I'll probably trim the end of that thing because it does stick out quite a bit. And there are some competitive options like the Spartan Enyo or the Clinch Pick 2.0. I'm using this one because I've had it forever, I've trained with it, and it's a fraction of the cost. Still does the job just fine. Next we have my wallet. This is a Travex Contour. So I got this thing in 2018 and haven't turned back. I don't know how I went all those years with a huge stinking folding wallet in my back pocket. It carries all the cards I need and even has room for cash in the back. So it's RFID blocking and has like a 65-year warranty as well. People are always asking me about it, and it really is more of a conversation starter more than anything. The mix of leather and metal just hits the spot for me. And it is made in the USA, of course. So pro tip, that little screw in the top there, You're going to adjust that based off of how many cards you carry, and it will get loose on you, so just put a bit of Loctite in there and it won't budge. Next, I just have some compressed gauze. Now, I started carrying a pack a while back because I can just solve so many different problems with this. I have some more trauma capabilities in my backpack, but I don't always have it around. Now, really no reason not to carry it. Just rubber band it together, stick it in the pocket. You won't even notice it's there after a while. Then, of course, I carry a tourniquet. Now, yeah, I know this one's ancient. I got issued this one like eons ago, and I probably should just swap it out for a Gen 7 and use this one for training. But I do keep this in my back pocket because people bleed out from time to time, and I am a first responder, so I kind of feel naked without one. One end is just rubber banded loosely to keep it together, and I can get that off one-handed, no problem. If you need to know how to stage a tourniquet, I have a video out on that now. Go check it out. Moving on to my jingly things, these are my keys. So I do carry this Gerber Shard, which I always thought was a funny name for this thing. Kind of sounds like Shart. It's got a bottle opener, a little mini Phillips head screwdriver, and a pry bar. Good enough for me. Moving on to the, really not a multi-tool, it's a Victorinox. It's got a knife, a file, scissors, has a little tweezer set on there, and then a pick, which I don't really use. I guess you could use that as like a lock pick maybe. I used to have a Leatherman Squirt PS4. I like that thing so much better. It had pliers and scissors, but I lost it to some TSA agent at an airport, so I was mad about that. Also, I just realized I used to carry a Shart and a Squirt in my pocket at the same time. Maybe it's better I don't. I might have to deal with it because that really was my favorite little mini multi-tool, and it really had a lot of the function without the bulk. I've also been looking at that Leatherman Skeletool. I've never had one of those. Maybe I'll order one and try to work that into my system. So I do have a secondary light. This is the Olight IR2 EOS. It is rechargeable, and it works just by kind of screwing the housing in. Two different modes, a low and a high. So what I do, I twist the housing so that the light turns on, and then I dial it back like a quarter turn so it turns off, and I've never had a problem with it. And when you do unscrew the thing, the second version of this, the EO2, it does not come apart. That first version would come apart into two separate pieces when you charged it, so there was the potential you could lose one of those. This one kind of improved on that. And I really like having this thing on my keys. I use it more times than not. I even used to keep one of these on my plate carrier, and I just kind of Sharpied the lens red or blue for whatever I needed. So this thing is like 18 bucks, 150 lumens. It's a no-brainer to me. So now you're looking at my spare mag. It is the Italian-made MechGar variant, which I much prefer. They make some of the best magazines in my opinion. There are some Hornady Critical Duty 124 grain plus Ps in there as well. So it is a 17-round magazine, and my gun holds 15. It won't affect the performance. That extra 2 just gives me peace of mind. So finally, the main attraction, which is my carry gun. This is the SIG P320X Compact, and dudes, how good does that Wilson Combat Grip Module look on there? Just totally changes the profile of this thing. So with how it comes from the factory, it kind of feels like an Acura and shoots like an Audi. With this thing, it feels like a P52 Mustang and shoots like a friggin' wet dream. I love that starburst pattern on the grip, which is somewhere between a sandpaper-like feel and really good stippling. And that grip is cut a bit higher in the back with that extended beaver tail, kind of reminiscent of a 1911 style grip. And with a gun like this, or any SIG that has a higher bore axis, getting your hands just a bit higher is going to help. So it came with the SIG night sights, which are fine. I don't usually change or make any major modifications to guns, or handguns really. I do have the Olight PL Mini 2 Valkyrie on there, which is a great light. It's 600 lumens and is rechargeable. I've never had any problems with it. So the holster I'm using with this thing is the Tier 1 Concealed Aegis Elite, and we've all been through journeys when it comes to finding the right holster. And after using this one, and it has a magazine attached to it, I can't go back to just a single holster. It is 2 pieces attached with that shock cord in the middle. Has some unique features like the bubbling on top of the magazine, the wing on the side, to help it conceal just a bit more. Then I added one of their wedges to the bottom, just kind of helps push that butt of the gun up against your waistline. So great holsters there. Now, from time to time, I do carry this P365 in this kind of like red plaid holster if I'm feeling froggy. So it is just the standard 365, and I put that Wilson Combat 365X grip module on there just because I like having that extra bit of grip so I get my pinky around there. Now, the only thing I will say with these holsters is same holster, but on the P320, the bottom is open so I can fit a larger P320 in there. On the 365 holster, I can't do that. It's closed off, so if I had an XL, the holster wouldn't be compatible. The belt is a 511 Apex in brown, and I've had this thing for over a decade now, and it just works for me. I remember them advertising it as being the same material used to pull elevators up and down the shaft, and when you stretch it out or try to pull it with your hands, you really can't tell how strong it is. So great belt for inside the waistband, but width-wise, it will bend on you, so not the greatest for outside the waistband. The buckle is like hard as heck too, and with those teeth on there, you could really ruin someone's day if you had to. So another use there, I guess. Now, if I am carrying outside the waistband, or if I just want some extra rigidity with what I'm carrying, I will use this blue 4-skier low-profile EDC belt. It's made with 2 layers of 1.5-inch nylon webbing, so it is pretty rigid. Alright guys, I think that wraps it up. So improvements for me, I think I'm going to get another compact multi-tool, and I'll probably start carrying a Sharpie as well. I think I'm going to leave it there for now. So if you guys enjoyed this, hit that like and subscribe button. Maybe leave a comment down below. Essential Gear out.